Good morning, Savannah. Welcome to the Savannah Business Showcase. You're listening to WRUU FM. I am Taraz, your host, and I am here this morning with a very special guest, Dr. Jared Brown.
Yes, sir. So glad to be here.
Of Bright Life Chiropractic. Bright Life Chiropractic.
Yes.
So what I'll do is I'll let you introduce yourself, and we'll move from there.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Dr. Jared Brown, Bright Life Chiropractic. Went to Life University, Marietta, Georgia, and that's where I decided to go. My mother was actually a graduate from Life University as well.
Okay, nice.
And so I've actually been under chiropractic care since birth. And, sometimes when I say that, people are like, why did you need a chiropractor since birth? You must have some major conditions. And absolutely, I didn't.
Yeah.
Actually, we know that the birth process can be kind of traumatic. If you think about it, as the baby's being born, have you ever seen a birth or videos or anything like that?
Yes, I'm a parent. Yes,
I've
been there. Yeah.
Good, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a little different than what we thought about before we actually saw it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the first thing to present itself is the baby's head, and what is the first thing the doctors grab onto, or the nurse?
Yeah, the head, around the head, yeah.
Is the head, and then they help. What do they traditionally do with the head?
Pull with it. Pull.
They're trying to pull, right?
Yeah.
Because they want to assist that baby coming out. So does the baby have enough strength to resist all that pulling?
Probably not.
No, right? Because
Right.
if you think about it, you're talking about the most immature state of muscles and ligaments and tendons at that time, is they haven't even had the feeling of gravity yet to help build that strength. So studies are showing that 9 out of every 10 babies born, even if it's a natural delivery, are actually having an atlas misalignment.
Mm-hmm.
The atlas is the most important bone in the spine. And, I'm sure we'll get into that later about the benefits of that. But, so I was checked early on and have been checked regularly because I use and abuse my body. And just like I've got an 18-month-old son now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
how old's your kids?
5 and 1.
Okay, so 5 and 1. That 1-year-old's probably running around like crazy, right?
Getting there.
Getting there.
Yeah, right.
And then in the process of getting there can be lots of falls and spills too.
Right.
Because they're trying to pick up at first, and then when they can't stand up, they fall back.
Right.
And those little impacts over time can lead to other concerns and conditions. And so my son, Jagger, when he was born, he had a very slight misalignment of his atlas. But I wasn't going to say, you know what, let's just see if it turns into migraines one day or ADHD or it turns into something. Let's just wait until it's symptomatic, right? Because that sounds kind of crazy thinking about it, right? But many people do. They don't know to get their kids checked because we're so based in this country on symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, healthcare is really not healthcare, it's sick care.
Mm-hmm.
It's if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Wait until you have a symptom and then go get checked out. So we've got a lot of work to do in this community.
True. That's true. Yeah, especially with something like that, you wouldn't even know you're hurt because you're used to it. Kind of like glasses. You don't know, you can't see that well until you have glasses.
That's so true. And think about it. The top 2 killers are known as the what killers? Silent.
Silent. Yeah.
Heart disease and cancer. You
That's
cannot
true.
see nor feel until it's too late. Like the day you find out, let's say that you have degenerative disc disease in your back, or that you have a kidney problem or a lung problem, or you have scoliosis or arthritis. Is that the day it started developing in your body, the day you discovered it, or even the doctors discovered it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No,
Right.
right?
I mean,
we know
obviously,
it can
but
take years.
Yeah.
Studies show on average it can take up to 10 years for your body to actually produce a symptom because it spends so much time trying to compensate and adapt around the problem. So that means that right now, as we talk on this show, it is feasible to say that there could be a health concern or condition without any awareness of it. And that's what concerns us is we're concerned with the symptoms that people have, but they at least are aware. It's the problems that people don't even know that they have going on. And that's what's so awesome about our technology, that we can actually assess the body and see areas that are dysfunctioning, whether there's a symptom or not.
Yeah.
That takes it to the next level.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome. Okay.
that changes the whole approach.
Okay. Now I want to take a step back. Now, you said your son's name was Jagger.
Jagger.
Okay, where'd that come from? Because that's a cool name.
You like that?
Yeah.
So me and my wife wanted something that wasn't so, we didn't want anything. We like unique things and names and things like that. So, we were throwing things around, and my dad and brother always shared initials in the same middle name, and so I wanted to share that with my son. So my initials are JRB. So we picked Jagger Ryan Brown, and we were just kind of doing what I think a lot of people do, looking through the name books, looking for ideas, and when we came upon it, we're like, That is cool.
That's it.
And he fits the name well, man. He loves to dance. He loves to sing. He's crazy. He runs all around. And so I think we might be in trouble.
That's pretty awesome. That's cool, though. That's good.
Yeah.
So, also, once again, I looked up your bio. You're from, and it stuck out to me because I'm from Charlotte.
Okay.
And you said you're from Charlotte, Michigan. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So, but it's a small town. I'm pretty sure I've been through there because I lived in Chicago for about 2 years. So I've been to Petoskey and Sandusky.
Yes.
And, Detroit.
Did you go to Cedar
Chicago.
Point while you were in Sandusky?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Are you a roller coaster guy?
I'm sorry. I didn't go to Cedar Point when we went to the Bay. Was it Putin Bay?
Oh, I think I know what you're
Off
talking
the
about.
ferry.
Okay. Well, next time you go, you got to go to Cedar Point.
Okay.
Unless you're not into roller coasters.
I'm not, man.
I
I could throw up on a boat ride.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, then don't go to Cedar Point because they have like the largest roller coasters in the world there. It's awesome.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Petoskey's really phenomenal. The Petoskey Stones and stuff, really cool. Traverse City's right up there, close to Mackinac Island.
Right.
That Mackinac Island Bridge and all that.
Right.
Beautiful country up there. It really is. It's interesting. What brought me down here?
That's what my next question
is the fact that my family's up there. I was born and raised in Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, to be specific. Well, right outside, which is Charlotte. They call it Charlotte.
Okay,
so it's pronounced Charlotte.
They say it wrong.
Yeah, I guess so. Right? There's that argument. We got that argument. And so the winters are taxing. I'll tell you that.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, the snow and plowing and this and that. And so my wife is from Florida. So we're like opposite peninsulas, right?
Yeah.
And so we met in chiropractic college. So we met early on in school. So we went through the whole program together and just developed a really unique bond and just a strong bond and strength. Awesome. And just really became friends. And then obviously, took a relationship and got married. And I proposed to her on Kennesaw Mountain in Kennesaw, Georgia.
Nice.
Have you been to Kennesaw?
Not yet, no.
So you gotta go to Kennesaw Mountain. It's really cool. There's a hiking trail. It's pretty intense, or you can drive up it. And it's just really got a really cool view of Atlanta. You can see for a ways. And there's Stone Mountain. That's further out. Have you been to Stone Mountain before?
I haven't been. It's on the list.
Okay, yeah, you gotta go there.
I've only been here a year.
Okay, you got some things to do. That's cool. Laser show up there is pretty cool, but. And so when we were looking for, where did we want to open a practice? Where did we want to serve our community? We decided we were like we didn't want to be in Florida. We didn't want to be in Michigan. Florida's hot. I mean, I was just in Jacksonville 2 weeks ago, and it was like 100 degrees. And she was from Sebring, which is just south of Orlando, and so we're like, man, I just don't want to be in that heat. I'm one extent to the other.
Right.
So we were looking at Charleston, Savannah, and we did consider Jacksonville because it was northern Florida. And we started in Charleston. Charleston was great, but there were some really good chiropractors there. We felt like the area was served, that they had some great chiropractors. And we came to Savannah, and we just felt like there was really a need for our style of chiropractic because we don't do the traditional grab your neck, twist it till it cracks, all that stuff. We do things much more detailed, much more specific, and it was lacking in this community. And we thought there were so many lives that we could really reach here, and we didn't even make it to Jacksonville. And so we just kind of put the flag in the ground here, and this is where we call home. We've been here. This practice has been here for 4 years as of July 7th. Awesome. So it's been amazing. We've grown so incredibly fast. I'm serving up to and over and beyond 500 patients a week in this practice. Awesome. And so we see a lot of our community. And it's just been a real blessing and honor to be able to serve to that capacity and continue to grow. We brought another doctor on.
Cool.
As my wife is at home with our son, who's now 18 months old, Jagger.
Nice.
And then we've got another one on the way.
Congratulations.
And just found out we're having another boy.
Congratulations.
So,
Mick.
Right? We're thinking actually Broughton.
Broughton. Oh,
do you like that?
Yeah.
It's different.
That's
it's
cool
unique.
name.
It's kind of Savannah.
Right. Definitely Savannah.
I haven't really heard it much, but kind of another unique name. So Broughton, we're thinking of Broughton. And so Jagger was born December 23rd. So December 23rd, he'll be 2. And Broughton potentially is due the 11th of December. So we're going to have a newborn and a 2-year-old.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
We're excited.
Yeah, same here. We had both kids in July. So this past month was a busy month.
Yeah. I bet. That's cool though.
Yeah.
It's nice having them together because they're 4 years apart. You said 1 and 5.
1 and 5.
Yeah. So we were trying to think like what's the best age range and how is that dynamic with is it
It's good. Yeah, he helps out. My son's the older one. He helps out, and he loves his little sister.
That's cool.
Yeah, we have to tell him not to play with his
older
neck
brother,
too much.
Little sister.
Yeah.
Not to play with his neck?
Tell him not to play with her neck too much.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, keep your hands off her head.
So he wants to be a chiropractor.
Yeah, he wants to. That's right.
That's
right. That's cool, though. So explain a little bit about the technology here, because it is different, and I didn't even understand it when I was reading the website. So just, in layman's terms.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So basically, what creates the differences is our thoroughness. So first, we're gonna basically sit you down, go through a consultation. Your first visit is 60 to 90 minutes in the office. Okay, so we're gonna do a consultation, evaluation, orthopedic evaluation, where we do orthopedic tests to stress the parts of the spine, the body, to see if it's causing any problems, any findings. That's used pretty widely in the medical arena. We're doing range of motion, see what how's everything moving, and then the technology that really kind of separates us from the rest is exposing the weaknesses in the nervous system. So what happens is your spine is made of 24 movable bones, vertebrae, and those bones have to move so you can bend and twist and turn and stand and sit. But what the problem is that since they're movable, they're susceptible to misalign. Okay, there's several ways, because people say, well, how do I get misalignments in my spine? To summarize it, there's two categories. One's called a micro trauma, and one's called a macro trauma. So macro traumas is what we tend to think of, and that's your sports injuries. We consider the birth process to be the child's first macro trauma, but sports injuries, slips, falls, auto accidents, right? Auto accidents is big, and those are definitely traumatic events that can definitely cause misalignments that should definitely be checked by a chiropractor. But what we don't think of is what's called micro traumas, and that's what we tend to do on a repetitive basis. So that's your traditionally it boils down to what you do for a living. So some of our nurses that are lifting patients up, or our teachers that are out on their feet all day, or maybe yourself, you probably do. I mean, you have your airtime, but you're probably doing a lot of editing. So you're kind of hunched over a computer looking down, so strain on your neck and your mid back. To our truck drivers that are in a seat all day, or whatever the case may be. Everybody has their own trauma. There's no way to avoid it. Does that make sense? It's like a cool analogy that makes it simple is you have 10 cars, same make, same model, each one right after another came off the assembly line the same day. Okay, so they're all made together, 10 cars. You fast forward 10 years down the road, are those 10 cars all in the same exact condition? And they're No, they're the same car, same make, same model, same year, same options, same motors, everything. 10 years down the road, they're not all in the same condition. And why is that?
Yeah, different work they had to put in.
Different work they had to put in, and also different owners that took care of them in different ways, right?
That's true, yeah.
So some maintained very well, some maintain not so well, right? So maintaining your body or maintaining your car not very well, isn't that cheaper to not have to maintain it very well? It is cheaper because you don't have to pay for your oil changes, you don't have to pay for your tires. It's cheaper. It's out of pocket less. But 10 years down the road, which ends up being cheaper? The maintenance, the preventative, or all the damages and crises, right? So I say this to say this is that it's how our body's used and abused and how we maintain it, right? So between those micro traumas and macro traumas, it can take the toll on the structure, but again, doesn't always necessarily show as far as a symptom goes. So that's why it's important to have your spine and nervous system checked and monitored, because we're all going to continue to do what we do. We're not going to just change our professions and our careers because of the stress it causes us. So it's basically the maintenance that we take. Just like how long do you need to eat well, or how long should you exercise, or how often should you do those things that are important to you, right?
Right.
And so what we do is we use this assessment tool to show us where there's irritation. What's really great is it'll show a graphic printout of your spine, and it'll show different ranges and different levels of compression, because when those bones misalign, it puts pressure on the nerve. And so this will show us where and how severe. So we can put all this together, take an x-ray with our digital technology to put all this together to show exactly what that individual needs based on their presentation to the office. Now, what really, again, takes us different is our approach. Some people feel, some doctors and chiropractors feel, let's just do a gross manipulation of the spine. That's where they kind of twist and crack on your back. And let's just kind of make sure those joints are moving and everything's moving right. Our approach is to create structural integrity and make sure that everything is functioning appropriately, specifically to the segment. So when you do a gross adjustment like that, meaning you're just kind of cracking the whole bone, the whole spine, it's not specific to the individual segment. It's kind of like this. You have a chain, and you're holding it on end, right? You're holding it up by the end link.
Right.
If you rotate just that one link, isn't it going to affect all the other ones below?
Yes.
Same thing with your spine. They all interconnect. And so we want to find the ones that are causing the rotation versus just doing all that twisting and cracking. Because when they twist and crack, it stretches the ligaments and muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And then that can create the hypermobility where you kind of feel like you always have to go back. And that's that feeling like it feels great instantaneously, but then maybe the pain comes right back.
Mm-hmm.
Goes away, comes back, goes away, comes back. Versus our approach is more like braces on the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
They don't take them from crooked to straight in one adjustment. It's multiple adjustments over time for long-lasting effects.
Gotcha.
And that's our approach.
Awesome. Okay, it makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
Okay. So another question I have.
Yeah.
On your site, you mentioned a lot about migraines and headaches and how your processes can help those as well. What's the difference between a migraine and a headache?
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, the thing with migraines and headaches is there's so much research into what they are and how they occur.
Mm-hmm.
Headaches are going to be the general way is headaches don't really come with any visuals. So a headache is going to be a pain, whether it's sinus headache. Cervicogenic headache means neck-induced cervical, which is your neck, neck-induced headache.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you can have a sinus-induced headache. There can also be cervicogenic is going to be any part of your spine. Sinuses can be from the environment, etc., which can also be connected to the spine nervous system, which I can get to later. Migraines are going to traditionally produce an aura or a visual impairment. So some kind of visual that you'll see. Colors, black, light sensitivity. So if you're in a bright room, it's going to be really hard to focus or see because of the pain that can come from that.
Mm-hmm.
It can affect your vision. People's vision can go in and out from a migraine.
Mm-hmm.
Migraine is going to be like next level. So migraine sufferers traditionally have headaches as well.
Yeah.
But migraines, that's what my mother became a chiropractor for.
Okay.
Was migraines.
Okay.
She had them so bad where it induced nausea and throwing up, and she had to literally like lock herself into a closet, like no lights, no sound, super hypersensitive, and she tried everything. Nothing was working.
Yeah.
Every time she went to a doctor, they just want to give her another pill, and I'm assuming that's probably what a lot of your listeners experience too. Is usually it's going to be let's wait and see. Everything looks okay. Here's a prescription. That's kind of the route, and it's
right.
all symptom based.
Yeah.
And her friend's like, you should try a chiropractor, and she just kind of sloughed it off, like what's a chiropractor? That's for like neck pain, low back pain,
right.
Auto accidents type things. This is in the early 80s, and she just kind of was going on the same road, and her friend which was great, continued to encourage, like, hey, what do you have to lose at this point? You've tried everything else.
Mm-hmm.
All they do is keep giving you drugs. So why don't you try it? And so she went to a chiropractor. Her atlas was severely misaligned, and it was left undetected or uncorrected. And so she had her adjustment, and after a couple weeks, all of her migraines went away, and she's never had a migraine since. And
wow.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Like it was like a wow moment. Like wait a minute, now I'm off of all my medications. I'm not polluting my body with all these drugs, and it was something that was like working with me versus like a medication. Like if you think about it, is there even one prescription drug that actually corrects or identifies the cause?
I guess not.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you even think about it,
Yeah.
like sometimes people will say, like when we do this presentation like at a doctor's office or nurses or things like that, they'll say, well, maybe your antibiotic corrects the cause because it's killing the bacteria. But see, I say one level further than that is don't you think the reason that the bacteria was able to thrive was a weakened immune system? So the cause and the problem with the bacteria, because there's bacteria all over your skin right now, you can't
right.
avoid it. I mean,
right.
it's just your body's susceptibility to it. So when your immune system's deprived, now you're more susceptible to get sick and things like that. That's why people that are on a lot of antibiotics get sick all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because an antibiotic is basically like a grenade that kills everything. It doesn't know the good stuff versus the bad stuff. It just kills it all. And so then now you're more susceptible, and now you might be fine for a little bit, but then you just catch the next thing. So basically, long story short, she, she's like, man, I just really want to, is skeptical as she was. She's like, how many people are skeptical about chiropractic? And really, it's not even chiropractic. It's really about how their body works.
Right.
Even going through undergraduate, they never really taught us how the body works together. It was like, learn the cardiovascular system, learn the digestive system, learn how the kidney works, learn how the liver works, learn how this system works, but they didn't bring it all together. And that's what's really cool, like, about some of the educational materials we have in the office, is it shows how your body comes together and works and communicates. Because when you don't know how it works together, then that's why it doesn't make sense how chiropractic works. Because there's something that connects all those systems together, and that's the wiring system of your body, which is your nervous system.
That's true.
So if there's any interference from your brain to whatever system, there's no way that system can work like it's supposed to. I don't care how many pills you're on. I don't care how many organic smoothies you're drinking a day. It's not going to correct the cause of the disconnect. And so that's what we're trained to detect, and we're actually the only professional that's trained to locate and remove subluxation. And subluxation is a fancy word for spinal misalignment causing pressure to the nerve. And so, she's like, man, there's got to be so many other people that are skeptical, so many people that don't understand, so many people that are suffering needlessly. And she's like, there's got to be more people out there that are going to the doctors and they're leaving disappointed. And also, people are almost stopping going to the doctors because they know exactly what they're going to hear.
Yeah.
They know.
Take this, yeah.
Take this pill. And honestly, most people don't want to be on pills. Most people aren't looking to get on another pill. They're looking to get off their pills. They're looking for a solution, and I think people keep getting discouraged. And it's just like another copay, another doctor's visit. And of course, even especially around Savannah, it's not easy to get into the doctors. So you're waiting a couple weeks, and then you go to the appointment and getting, okay, maybe this is going to change. Maybe it'll be a different thing this time. And then you get the same answer. Yeah. And how many times are you going to do that until you just like, what else? What else is there? And then all of a sudden now you're hopeless. You don't think there's any solution. She's like, man, there's got to be so many people that are in that same boat that I was in. And so she stopped what she was doing and she went right to chiropractic college. And I'm so glad she did, because if she never did, I wouldn't be here today talking to you and hopefully helping somebody else that's listening today achieve the health that they're actually looking for. Yeah.
Yeah. So the majority of listeners out there, probably 95% of us, didn't have anybody close to us that was a chiropractor like you did, like you were lucky with your mom. So, so who is the ideal clientele you're looking to treat?
Yeah, I know. And the thing is I'll break that down in two parts.
Okay,
since we got the time, right? Yeah. Two parts is the word treat, because I don't treat anything. Okay. So treating, traditionally, when you treat something, you're treating a symptom, right? And I don't even like that, because what does that even mean? Right. Like, how are you treating it? You know what I mean? Like, are you correcting it? Are you just
being nice to it?
You see what I'm saying? What, if you think about what does that even mean? And traditionally, what that means, and you go to doctors, is they're going to treat it with a prescription. And what they mean by treating is they're treating the symptom. They're helping you feel better, but feeling better doesn't always mean healing better. So you go into a doctor with pain, they're going to give you a pain pill, and usually an anti-inflammatory, okay, or a muscle relaxer. And it's kind of so it's kind of a disconnect. It's hard for me to understand that. If it wasn't a trauma-induced event, then why are we on these things, right? So treating is one thing. I don't treat anything. What I do is I look for, where is there a disconnect between the brain and the rest of the body? What do I utilize? Where's that disconnect traditionally? Well, the spinal bone's misaligned. And there's studies, cadaver studies, books showing in cadavers where they've gone through and they can actually see the impingement of the nerve. And studies are showing it only takes the weight of a dime to reduce nerve flow by up to 20%. The weight of a dime. It's not like this thing has to be crunched down like pliers. Do you see what I'm saying? It just has to be, because if you think about a nerve, if you think about that, there's 77 trillion projected nerves that go through your top bone of your neck called the atlas. 77 trillion. That's a lot of cells. So every cell in your body, you look at a microscope, every cell has a nerve attached to it. So every aspect of your body is innervated by a nerve, because they all require power. And your nervous system is basically like the wiring system of your body. So if you could just imagine that each nerve is going to millions and millions of cells, how one segment can affect several parts of your body, right? And so we're looking to remove that interference to let that part of the body respond. Now, we know that somebody with neck pain, if they have an issue in their spine, that symptom will resolve. But what else could that lead to? I know we're focused on the neck pain. That's kind of like the check engine light in the car. We want to get that check engine light off. Let's get it removed. But what is the cause, and what else can that be affecting? They don't maybe realize that also could be affecting their concentration, their focus, etc.
Yeah.
So our client is, our avatar client is going to be families. Is going to be traditionally your families with kids, because a lot of times, the kids can't tell you, hey, my neck hurts or this or that. Even though I had one today, came in, and she's waking up every morning with neck pain, and she is 6. So it's coming more common in kids. Gotcha. I think it's a lot more of the stresses that the kids are in, because every kid pretty much has 2 red spots on their foreheads, and those red spots are from their knees because they're staring at their iPhone and their tablets all day.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And that's putting a lot of pressure on the neck. There's a really cool study that shows that your head weighs as much as a bowling ball. And when you're holding a bowling ball upright, like before you are to put it down the lane, you usually hold it close to you, right? Because it's the less stress. The further out you put it, like if you were to put your arm straight out in front of you, it'd be really heavy. It'd feel heavier than it was when it's close to your body, right?
Right.
The same thing with your spine and your head. The further your head goes forward, the more weight and pressure it puts on your neck, and it causes it to stretch and to degenerate. And they have done this time and time again, and you're seeing so much of it in these kids. So much of these people in their computers, they start upright when they start the day, right? But by the end of the day, if I could take a picture, they're like this. Their shoulders are rounded forward, their head's forward, and it's putting a lot of stress on their body. So we're seeing kids now coming in with reverse necks, headaches, neck pains, and all kinds of other things. And it's like, man, starting at 6, already having pain. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think any child should have to be worried about pain. You know what I mean? But so many of these kids are. So, a lot of times, again, mom doesn't understand. The doctor's, saying to put heat on it, to do some stretches, this and that. But this has been going on for quite a while, and it's like not getting to the root. And so that's what our strategy is to try to connect with these families to show that there is a better way.
Okay.
So the families here, we see a lot of military, Hunter, Fort Stewart, especially with the helicopter pilots. They got those big helmets on. They've got the counterweights, putting a lot of compression on their neck. Everybody has their stress. So if you were to shadow me, my nephew's coming in this afternoon. He's 17 and he wants to be a chiropractor. He's coming in from Michigan, so
awesome.
He lives in Charlotte right now.
Okay.
And so he'll be here this afternoon. You'll probably see him because he's gonna be here at 2:30, and he's gonna shadow me. And if you were to shadow me like he's going to today, you'd see that we see everybody. It's not like it's just one type of person, because everybody has a spine.
That's true. And
everybody is susceptible to misalignment, and you'd be surprised by the people that husband or wife brings in, because there's always one of them that's hesitant to go to the doctor or go to the chiropractor. And I get it. I don't like going to the doctors, right? And so, but this isn't your, looking around, this isn't what your traditional doctor's office looks like, right?
Yeah, no, definitely
I'm not sitting here wearing a white coat,
right,
stethoscope, and all that stuff. You don't see all these products for sale and things like that. We want it to feel more like home, and like to feel like a place that, is relaxing and comfortable for you. And so you get that spouse or, one or the other that's like, the A uses their spouse as a guinea pig. So they want to see how they respond first. Or they say, I don't have anything going on, but she dragged me in here, I'll get checked. And then you look at their neck or their back, and it's like, wow, you've got to have some. Well, every once in a while, this and that. And it's like the straw that broke the camel's back. Was it literally the one little straw that broke the camel's back? No. It was the last straw, right?
Yeah.
Your body can take so much until it just can't anymore. And it's like, so is that the place that we want to get? Is to the smoke's barreling out from the hood of our car? No, it doesn't make sense. It's easier to make sure and to know. Because a lot of people assume they're okay. But what happens every time a marathon comes around town? Have you heard of the Rock and Roll Marathon?
Yeah, I'm doing it this year.
You're doing it this year, right?
Yeah.
What happened this past year?
I don't know. What happened?
Every single year, somebody drops because of a heart condition, right? We've had several fatalities from these events, right?
Really?
They look good, they felt great, they're athletes, they're runners, but did that individual necessarily die healthy? They felt good,
yeah,
but was everything okay on the inside? And obviously not. and these are young guys, right?
Yeah.
That were obviously able enough to run a marathon. And we're seeing this time and time again because a lot of people are assuming everything's okay. And they look at health costs as expenses. And so if you've taken any business class, there's a difference between an asset and a liability.
Right.
And an asset produces you income, and a liability takes away from income, right?
Right.
So a lot of times people think of healthcare costs as a liability. But I think that you're your most important asset. Because you're the one that's producing your family income. You're the one that this is the only body that you're ever going to have, right? So I think people need to shift and look at themselves as an asset and to treat it like one and to invest in themselves because, man, it's like we're so quick to save for retirement, but then so many people are getting to retirement the sickest they've ever been. And it's like if they would have spent even just a portion of that on their bodies, they'd actually get to enjoy that retirement. I mean, age is just a number, and I believe that because I see 70-year-olds in this office that, my goodness, Jack LaLanne, right, swimming and pulling boats, to 70-year-olds that they're in a wheelchair crippled. I see the same thing with 40-year-olds.
That's true.
I mean, it's like age is just a number, and so many people take their health for granted until guess what? They lose it.
They lose it. That's right.
And we turn into babies once we do, right? And it's like, I mean, you're sick or something like that, and it's like, oh my goodness, it just completely devastates you, and that weakness in time, and it's just like you just want to get back to normal. But a lot of times we don't think about those problems until they're there, and I really feel like it's just been part of how we've been educated from day one. That pharmaceutical ads have been in front of us our entire life, and we've got that mentality that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Once it's broke, take a pill, and we understand that's a failing system because we know that we don't have the best healthcare system in the world.
Right, unfortunately, yeah.
It's a failing system, and we know there's so much corruption in the pharmaceutical system. If you ever know anybody that's worked for a doctor, they never have to bring lunch to work because there's a pharmaceutical rep bringing them lunch every day.
Yeah.
And there's kickbacks for these doctors, all kinds of stuff that's going on. Pfizer's paying some of the biggest drug fines in history in the billions of dollars, and the spokesperson said it's the cost of doing business. Because what's a billion when you make $1 trillion?
Yeah.
And when I think of that, I say cost of doing business. I said, who's the cost of doing business? And I say that's us. That's our community. And so the word doctor translates to the word teacher. And I don't know about today and your listeners how many people have actually been sat down and spoken to and taught something by a doctor. And so we're constantly in the community educating and teaching. It's easy for me not to. I mean, I've got a son at home. I got a pregnant wife at home. I mean, I've got things I could be doing too, but we know that that's not doing our community justice.
Right. And
they deserve to know. Once you know, then you can do whatever with that knowledge that you want. My goal and my mission is that everybody in this community has evaluation. They know how their body's functioning, that they know the condition of their lifeline, which is what they also call your spine because it controls all acts of life through that spine. And they at least know the condition. And then they can decide what they want to do from there. But there's so many people that are becoming victims to the medical system, and I don't know about you, but I don't want to be a victim, especially when it comes to my health.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say two things. One, my wife's a pharmacist, so she might not like this episode.
That's okay.
But she is a teacher as well. She works for UGA, so she's I've probably got 4 pharmacists under care. Nice. Okay.
And I'll tell you, the pharmacists are the last person that want to take a prescription.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, my wife hates giving our kids any kind of medicine.
See?
Yeah.
I have a lot of doctors under care. I have a ton of nurses under care. And I always get that from some, I'll get that initial whatever, but I always get agreement on it. Our doctors, our nurses, our pharmacists are the last ones to take prescriptions. They see the people filling those drugs week after week, month after month, year after year, getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And like you said, she's the last one to give your kids meds. And I think that's awesome because she is knowledgeable. She knows. She understands. She knows the research. And, that's what I tell people is so many people are quick to just nod their head and say yes. Yeah. And not do the research because it's easier to just assume that you're being told what you need to be told. I encourage people, look, go online, do the research, but be careful where you look. Yeah. Because you can find a lot of negative out there.
To support
you start reaching forums of opinion that's a different story than looking at actual research articles that are peer-reviewed and have cited sources and things like that.
Good point.
You got to be fair when it comes to your research and what you're looking at, because you can find positive, negative on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I hope she finds. I think she'll like the. I think she'll like it.
She'll be fine with it. She might not even listen. We'll see. We'll see. She'll say something to me. But we got to take a break.
Awesome.
And we'll come right back with the lightning round. Thank you guys for joining us. Once again, I'm here with Dr. Jared Brown of Bright Life Chiropractic here in Savannah. All right. See you guys in just a minute.
That's awesome.
Welcome back to the Savannah Business Showcase. Once again, I'm here with Dr. Jared Brown of Bright Life Chiropractic. And we are going to put him through the lightning round. So, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. What did you want to be as a kid, and how does that relate to your current business?
What did I want to be as a kid? Man, my dad was a Marine sniper, and I always really was. We were always outdoorsy kind of people, and really enjoyed that aspect, and I always thought that would be so cool. And my mother was a chiropractor, so I guess once I grew and thought of reality and worked within her practice, I spent a lot of time in my mother's practice. I just saw so many people that were sick and got to see sick people get well, and I just thought so much more empowerment in that. And man, I honor our military. I see a lot of the military here, and I just thought that I was serving God by serving man, and so I just kind of took my direction to just really help as many people as I could with their health. So I guess how do I use that now? We've got a lease out in Glenville, so we like to go out there and spend some time out in the woods with the guys. So that's pretty fun too. Yeah.
Awesome. How have you approached failure in life?
How have we approached failure? Man, I think failure is a learning experience. I don't think there's really such thing as failure unless you do the same thing over and over again. Like if you keep failing over and over again at the same exact thing, and you're not learning lessons, then I definitely consider that as a failure. But I think if you can learn something from each experience and grow from it and better yourself, I think that's going to be the best thing for you. I think those that I fear are the ones that haven't faced failure. And they've always been encouraged, they've always been given awards, or they've always been accomplished, but they've never had failure, because then I feel like once you are faced with it, you don't know how to handle it, it can create more problems. So I think it's definitely a learning lesson.
Who influenced you early in life, and who's your mentor now?
That's awesome. So early in life, I definitely looked up to my parents and to my mother. In high school, I did a work study, and his name was Brent, and he was just a very common sense, isn't so common kind of guy, and he taught me to. He was the kind of guy that'd have you do something, and you'd be doing it, and he'd find a better way to do it. So you're always trying to find the best way to do something. So he really instilled to like perfectionism in me, to striving for perfection, always trying to grow. No one's ever perfect. Just like we were all in Atlanta all weekend, training. We're constantly training. I'm training every 3 months. My license only requires me to train twice a year, or twice every 2 years. But my morals require me to train much more than that. And so we're every quarter we're training for 3 days, and just always trying to improve. So he really instilled that on me, and I have many mentors today. I have mentors that lead me in Christ. I have mentors that lead me in business and real estate. So I think it's important to seek counsel in life and have mentors in all different aspects of your life. So because not every maybe mentor is strong in every single aspect, but the aspect maybe that you need them to be strong in. Does that make sense? So
nobody's asking Bill Clinton for relationship advice.
There you go.
Yeah. So you have kids. This is the Savannah Business Showcase. So as far as entrepreneurship goes, what are you going to teach Jagger about business?
Leading by example, and just showing him that business isn't always easy, but it's always worth it, and that it does take time and balance with family life. Family is so important to me, and so I spend so much time with my son and my wife and family, and knowing that balance and knowing how to do that. So most likely for him, he's relatively young, so at this point we're really focused on him just being the most polite, caring, giving, because I think business is about giving and serving. You know, a servant mentality. There's so many options in the marketplace today that people expect when they come to a doctor, they expect results.
Right.
But they don't necessarily expect experience, because most experiences at a doctor's office aren't very good. Most people's experiences in general have you ever had a bad experience at a restaurant or a store?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I mean, all the time, you know, and it's like, so we strive for experience because you got to set yourself out. So just showing him to, you know, not always look for the easy way, but to, you know, to work hard and to be okay with quote unquote failure, because that's where you really learn the most, I think.
What is something that you consume religiously? It could be like a blog, a food, TV show, anything.
Honestly, our church, and just trying to dive in as much, you know, the season of life I'm in right now is that I try to, like I said earlier, is my way of serving God at this point is by serving man, and I'm open with my faith here. We're playing Christian music. I'm open about Christ in my practice, which, you know, doesn't work for everybody, but I know that I can't be there for everybody, so I try to be Christian every single day, and not just on Sundays, but and instill it in my business. Because how many businesses do you walk into that you can hear the gospel and you can hear Christ and you can hear that? Like, how often does that happen?
Yeah, very
Can
few.
you name 2, 3 besides churches?
Yeah,
maybe the Christian bookstore, but really you don't really hear that very often.
Yeah.
It's very rare, and so we try to instill that within our business and just kind of walk through that. I'm in a season of life where my time has become very difficult to give out. Besides, you know, I'm gone every single weekend traveling and training and speaking. I speak to schools and colleges and you know, so that is something that's hard for me to give is my free time, because it's been very, very few and far between.
Yeah.
But I try to just walk in it on a daily basis and instill that within my practice member base.
That's amazing. That's good. That's awesome. I do hate that Chick-fil-A closes on Sundays. That's like the only time
I know,
want
it's
it.
not
You know
awesome.
what I mean?
Yeah, that's when everybody wants.
Yeah, that's
Chick-fil-A.
where you want it. Yeah.
Yeah, but no,
I'm just joking.
That's
but
amazing
I
though.
understand.
And they said even the revenue that they would have, the lost revenue by not being open on Sundays, but that they're not willing to sacrifice that, and that's strengthened them. But even Chick-fil-A, I mean, it's just an amazing customer service to how they are. It's just they've really instilled that. It's a great company.
Yeah, I agree. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book, you know, I think my favorite book is, you know, it's funny because I get asked this a lot of times, and I'm not a big book reader. I read so many books in chiropractic college, so what I tend to do is seek counsel and mentorship. So I'm always trying to connect with other individuals. One that, you know, I the last one I read was probably Think and Grow Rich, or
Great book, yeah.
Rich Dad Poor Dad, and a lot of it's on mindset. And I think that's so many people think it's like, what's the next move I need to make, or where do I need to invest this money, or where do I need to put this? But a lot of times, you know, people don't invest enough in themselves, and I'm not even just saying it with their health, but in taking classes and seminars and conferences and like Tony Robbins, you know, that's a big thing. A lot of these guys now are invest in yourself. Yeah. We're always looking like, where can I invest my money? Where can I put my money? But like, you are your biggest asset. So, you know, you need to be, you know, healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? You need to have all those key components and invest in yourself. So, you know, those are some books I read. I don't read a ton of books, but I do speak with a lot of mentors and try to advise with those that I feel know more than me in different areas of life. So.
There's and I ask all the guests this, there's a concept called the 80-20 principle. Okay. Pareto's principle. 20% of the actions you take equates to 80% of the results. Yeah. In your business, what is the 20% of actions you do to get you the most results?
Follow up.
Okay.
Yeah. Follow up. Yeah. I'd say follow up in connection. Connecting with people. People, you know, we see a lot of people when we're busy, but I can tell you when that person comes in, I can usually tell you their kids' names, what they did last weekend, what they're up to, what kind of work they do, because we pride ourselves in developing relationships and understanding and knowing the person that's in front of us, and that would be directly in my practice, and then to help build outside would be follow up, right? And people, I feel like, don't give people enough chances. And they expect somebody to be able to make a decision right here, right now, and realize that sometimes people just need time. So that would be my two.
Okay, a couple more, and then we'll round
absolutely.
it out. Is there a quote that's always been a mantra that you live by?
A quote that would be a mantra that I live by? Man,
or even just a favorite quote that's always in the back of your mind?
Yeah, a favorite quote. I've got a couple. I'm kind of thinking. As far as a favorite quote or mantra, I would say that that's good. I would say, that'd be a tough one for me to point out. That would have been, that's a good one. I should have come prepared with that. I would say that in life is just don't miss the small stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'd say be present. So many people are so focused on their social media or what's next or the news or this or that they just don't focus on enough of what's going on right now. Like what's in front of you, like right now, this conversation, and me and you that we're right here, and what's led us to this point, and just the present moment, and just and seeing the beauty in now, because I feel like we're so focused on everything else. So that's kind of how I try to live my life is in the present moment. Be aware of the future and prepare for the future and everything else. Definitely be a good steward of that, but being present. I think life just flies by so fast, and the more you can really try to just wake yourself up. I think we just get so dazed in social media and marketing and advertisements and TV and cars and schedules and appointments and this and that we just kind of forget the moment, and we're just almost wanting to skip the moment to get to the next.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I agree. If you had a superpower or ability, what would you choose and why?
A superpower to let people not get ahead of to let people get out of their own way. I don't know what power that would be, but I think that's the most frustrating thing with what I do. I think that people they think too much. They think themselves out of things so easily, and they just get in their own way. And that can be in health or success or finances or anything that, it's like, I feel like there's that voice in the back of our head, but we constantly battle it and try not to listen to it. And the more I feel like you can listen to yourself and understand yourself and who you really are, the more successful you can be. So if that would be a power, otherwise it would be pretty cool to be able to fly.
Okay, and the last one, and we'll round out with this. Advice for entrepreneurial kids and their parents.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I think that it's still, chores. I think giving people responsibilities, Jagger, like simple things like when he's done in the bath, we make him physically pick up his toys and put them away, right? He picks up his room, and even in the beginning when he wasn't, we took him to things and we helped him put things away. Instilling responsibility. I think that's the first thing, is being responsible, because business is about leadership and responsibility. You're if you have employees, you're responsible for their families and for them putting food on their table and providing for their families. And there's a lot of responsibility that comes with being a business owner. I know it's kind of like big and it's kind of like cool right now to be an entrepreneur, but it's there's a lot of responsibility that goes along with it. So teaching responsibility early on, and not being afraid to tell them no. I think we're so quick to just avoid a confrontation with our kids that we say yes, 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 but that's not how business works.
Right.
That's not how life works. You know what I'm saying? So life is going to tell you no, and if you don't know how to handle it or accept it, it's going to be a reality check. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Jared, for
You're
joining
so
us this morning.
Absolutely.
How can people find you?
So best way is you can go to our website, brightlifechiropractic.com. That's bright, BRIGHT life, chiropractic.com. You can give us a call. Let us know you heard us on the show, and we'll honor a complimentary evaluation like I was talking about. We'll do all those findings, all those assessments. Just make sure you mention the show. Our number is 912-777-3717. We're right off of Chatham Parkway, so if you know where Lexus and Kia is at, right next to Kia, there's that shopping center with Larry's Giant Subs, Nikki's Pizza, Campai Japanese Restaurant. We're right in that shopping center. We're here Monday through Thursdays, 10 to 6:30 p.m., and we'd love the opportunity to serve you and your family.
Awesome. Great interview. Thank
Thanks,
you
man.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody out there, for joining us on the show this morning. It's not this morning because I pre-recorded shows just so you know out there. But this morning to you. So thank you for joining us this morning. Go out there and do something impactful in the community today. Go out there and help somebody around you in your neighborhood. You don't have to do anything huge to make a change in the world. You can do something just right down the street. So hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll talk to you next week. Thanks. Bye.